paranormal experiences don't really work to a timescale, and therefore we invite you to listen to a Dark Minisode. Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Dark Minisode, our little paranormal teaser before we have our main episode on Friday. If you can notice a change in my voice, how it sounds, etc., once again, I'm recording somewhere different. I'm downstairs thanks to Nova, my cat, taking Paulie over the last day or so. Thankfully, this morning, she seems to want to try and fit the last couple of days she has missed of meowing in, because she's walking round after a big long sleep and chatting her little head off. So I'll do my best to make sure you don't hear any meows throughout this recording, but I can't guarantee it. But I'd sooner be hearing them than not. But moving on to today's minisode, I did want to mention that if you do have your own paranormal story, people will listen to this show and they will think that we have an absolute backlog and we'll never fit anyone's story in, so there's no point sending their story through. Well, we do have a lot of stories, we do have a backlog, but if the right story comes through, as I think we've proven season on season, then it may even find its way into this season. Because although this season is mapped out, we do it based on what we feel is right. We vote on the experiences coming through, and today's one was voted upon. But please do send in your experience. If you are one of those people who have thought, there's no point, it won't get read out, it's only a paragraph, or something along those lines, believe me, what we're trying to build here is almost a hub of, without being too title specific, the paranormal dark side people are experiencing now, or have experienced and are still alive today to tell. Because when I'm long gone, when we're long gone, hopefully there will be an archive here of what this generation's paranormal darkness looked like. Because at some point this year, we're hoping to unveil something huge. And I wish I could be more specific than that, but sadly I can't. But if you are mulling over sending in your experience by either clicking in the show notes or going to thedarkparanormal.com, when that announcement is made, you'll be glad you did. So if you are sat on your experience, please get it to us immediately. But right now, it's that time of the week where whatever you're doing, I ask you to find 15 to 20 minutes to yourself, go somewhere you won't be disturbed, and do your best to relax and fall into the experience I'm about to share with you, as we both learn about a demon named Mother. And this comes to us from Anonymous. I've spent most of my life feeling things I was never supposed to feel. Some people call it sensitivity, others call it imagination. Growing up, I learned quickly that telling people you feel watched when no one is there, or that certain rooms feel wrong, usually earns you uncomfortable looks or explanations that never quite fit. So I stopped talking about it. But that never made it stop. From my earliest memories, I was always aware of things that seemed to exist just outside of everyone else's perception. I could walk into a room and immediately know if something was off. Certain places would feel heavy, like the walls themselves were holding their breath. Some corners felt darker than they should, even when sunlight would touch them. Sometimes I would feel watched when I was completely alone. This all became normal. Or maybe I just taught myself to call it normal, because the alternative was harder to live with. When I was around 14 or 15, I was living in Tennessee with my adopted parents. Life at that age already felt fractured in ways I didn't fully understand. Being adopted creates a strange kind of emptiness that doesn't always have words. You learn to carry pieces of two lives at once. The one you were born into and the one you were placed into. At that age, I was still trying to understand where I belonged, who belonged to me, and whether either question even had an answer. My room was one of the few places that felt like it truly belonged to me. 3 of the walls were painted a soft sage green, while the wall behind my bed was lined with wooden slats angled across the surface, giving the room a warmth that made it feel safe. There were pictures of my adopted mother's horses hanging on the walls, sat alongside wood-burned pieces I'd made with my own hands. Across from my bed sat 2 light-sanded wooden dressers, and a small wardrobe rested nearby. The floor was covered in a thick tank carpet that softened every step. My bed, a small twin tucked into the corner beside one of the windows and against the wooden wall, was covered by a light blanket patterned with horses. Even the sliding door to my room was shut that night, sealing me inside what should have been the safest place in the house. Usually it was. But that summer, things had started to change. Small things at first. The kinds of things it's easy to dismiss if you want to. Sudden cold spots in warm rooms. Feeling that there's someone standing behind me when I knew I was alone. Moments where silence felt heavier than it should. Sometimes I would wake up in the middle of the night for no reason at all, only to feel that strange pressure in the air around me, like something had entered the room without opening a door. I tried to explain it away. Stress, lack of sleep, imagination. At 14, logic becomes something you cling to because it gives you structure. It tells you the world works in predictable ways. It tells you shadows are just shadows. It tells you that fear itself can be explained if you think hard enough. But there are moments where logic doesn't survive the room you're standing in. And that night was one of them. It was a warm summer night, the kind Tennessee seemed to specialize in. The heat had settled into the walls and carpet, leaving the air thick and unmoving. Even the darkness felt warm. And there I was, lying in my bed, beneath my horse-patterned blanket, trying to sleep. The room was quiet in the way nighttime rooms often are, where every familiar shape begins to blur into shadow. But then one corner of my room begins to look different. The corner where the wooden wall met the sage green paint started to look darker than the rest of the room. At first I thought I was imagining it. Then the feeling came. Okay guys, I need to talk to you about money. Why? Well, it's high on my agenda at the moment as I'm looking to move not just house, but country. So I have a money goal that I'm really striving to achieve. And let's just say, to say I've got some way to go is an understatement. But I'm trying not to fixate on where my money is now, because so many people are focused on where their money is today. Acorns is the financial wellness app that cares about where your money's going tomorrow. And something I think is wonderful that Acorns have is the Acorns Potential screen, so you can find out what your money is capable of. You guys know I've worked with Acorns for a while, and the reason I love working with them is because they take away the scare factor from investing. But in reality, investment and investing should mean the same for one person as it does for the next. Acorns is a smart way to give your money a chance to grow. It's easy. You can sign up in minutes and start automatically investing your spare money, even if all you've got spare change. Acorns is an all-in-one. No more finance apps cluttering up your phone. With Acorns, you can invest, save, and give your money a chance to grow in one trusted place. Sign up now and Acorns will boost your new account with a $5 bonus investment. Join the over 14 million all-time customers who've already saved and invested over $27 billion with Acorns. Paid on client endorsements. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 2 compensation provided. Potential subject to various factors such as customers' accounts, age, and investment settings. Does not include Acorns fees. Results do not predict or represent the performance of any Acorns portfolio. Investment results will vary. Investing involves risk. Acorn Advisors LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/darkparanormal. Let me tell you guys something from experience. Beginning your own business or company is terrifying. And sometimes it's not the money, it's not the finances, it's the what ifs. What if your big idea is only big to you? What if no one buys? And although making that leap was one of the best choices I ever made, how I wish there was something like Shopify for podcasters to help make that transition easier. What if I get stuck? Well, Shopify's always around to share advice with their award-winning 24/7 customer support. Get started with your own design studio. With hundreds of ready-to-use templates, Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand style. And get the word out like you've got a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US. From household names like Heinz and Mattel to brands just getting started. It's time to turn those what-ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/darkparanormal. Go to shopify.com/darkparanormal. That's shopify.com/darkparanormal. Today's episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. You may not know this, but May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's a reminder that whatever you're going through, you don't have to go through it alone. I know these adverts can feel like another paid voice just trying to sell a product to you, but I know the power of therapy as I'm in it myself. So I'm fully aware that some days feel good and others feel overwhelming, but whatever's keeping you up at night, it's easy to think that you have to figure it all out by yourself. And you probably think other people will cope with this much better than you, but the truth is no one has all the answers and no journey should be alone. Having someone with you to listen, to understand, to support you can make all the difference. And with it being Mental Health Awareness Month, it's an opportunity to check in with you and understand where you are right now. If you felt overwhelmed, stuck, anxious, unsure, those feelings are more common than we think, and we don't have to navigate them alone. A great thing BetterHelp do is the initial matching work for you so that you can focus on your therapy goals. As your questionnaire helps identify your needs and preferences, and their 12 plus years of experience and industry-leading match fulfillment rate means they typically get it right the first time. But if you aren't happy with your match, switch to another therapist anytime from their tailored recommendations. And having served over 6 million people globally, it clearly works. With an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. You don't have to be on this journey alone. Find support and have someone with you in therapy. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com. That's betterhelp.com. A heavy pressure began building in the room, thick and slow, like invisible water filling every inch of space. The air changed. It became harder to breathe. The silence felt unnatural too complete, too watchful. I felt it before I understood it. Something was there. A deep uneasiness crawled all over me, settling in my chest like a stone. I pulled the blanket tighter around myself, curling into it as if thin fabric could somehow protect me. I closed my eyes and tried to force sleep to come, hoping this feeling would pass if I ignored it long enough. It didn't. Instead, I felt it move. No footsteps, no sound, just a shift. A pressure in the room that slowly changed position, inching closer and closer to my bed. Every second stretched. My body knew what my mind was refusing to accept. It was coming toward me. That dread filled me, and it was immediate and primal. It wasn't normal fear. It wasn't the kind that comes from bad dreams or scary stories. This was something deeper, something instinctive. The kind of fear that strips thought away and leaves only survival. Then it reached me. The weight came down all at once. Something climbed onto me, pressing against my body with impossible force. My chest tightened instantly. It felt like the air had been stolen straight from my lungs. I tried to move, but my body barely responded. My arms were pinned, my legs felt numb. Every muscle seemed trapped beneath something I couldn't see. Panic hit hard. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. And then it changed. A shape above me began to take form. At first, it was only a shadow, moving, shifting, gathering into something more solid. Then, slowly the outline became familiar. Too familiar. It took the shape of my birth mother. At the time, she was living in Arizona, hundreds of miles away. But somehow, in that room, she was there. Then came the smell. Cigarette smoke. Her perfume. The scent filled my lungs so strongly it almost made me sick. It was a smell I knew deeply, a smell tied to memory, distance, confusion, and pieces of love I had never fully understood. It should have felt familiar. It should have felt safe. But nothing about this felt safe. The fear became unbearable, because even though it wore her face, I knew it wasn't her. The features looked almost right, but not enough. Something was trying to mimic what a person looked like without understanding what made them human. Its very presence felt wrong, empty in all the wrong places and heavy in all others. Then it spoke. Its voice sounded like hers, but hers if it had been dragged through gravel. Broken, wet, unnatural. "You know that I love you," it said. Its weight pressed harder onto my chest. "I'm always here, watching you." My heart pounded so violently I thought it would stop altogether. There was something deeply wrong in the way it said love. The word didn't feel warm, it felt possessive, like ownership, like a warning disguised as comfort. I could not move, I could barely breathe. All I could do was pray. Over and over, in my head, I begged God to make it leave. I repeated the same words until they stopped sounding like language and became instinct. Please leave, please leave, please leave. Time lost shape. I've no idea how long it stayed there. It could have been seconds, it could have been hours. Then suddenly, it was gone. The weight lifted. The room exhaled. Air rushed back into my lungs so fast it hurt. The darkness in the corner looked normal again. The smell vanished. The room silent. Completely silent. I stayed frozen in bed, staring into the darkness, terrified it would return if I moved. But it didn't. Eventually, exhaustion overtook fear, and somehow I fell asleep. The next morning, the room looked exactly the same. The sage green walls, the wooden slats, horse pictures, dresses, the tan carpet. Everything was untouched, but I wasn't. After that night, sleep became something I no longer trusted. Darkness felt different. My room, my one safe place, no longer felt entirely mine. There were nights I would stare at that same corner and wait, just to make sure it stayed empty. Sometimes it did. Sometimes I still felt watched. I never knew exactly what visited me that night. Maybe some people would call it sleep paralysis. Others would say maybe stress, trauma, imagination, or something my mind created to process emotions I didn't understand at the time. I've considered all of that, but there are things I cannot explain. The smell, the voice, the overwhelming certainty that what was above me was aware. Not dreamlike, not fading, aware. And if it was only in my mind, then why did it choose her face? Years later, there are moments where cigarette smoke catches the air around me and my body reacts before my mind can. Perfume lingers somewhere unexpected, and for a split second I'm 14 again, trapped beneath a weight I couldn't understand. What frightens me most is not what it looked like. It's what it understood. Whatever was in that room knew what comfort looked like. It knew what familiarity felt like. It knew which voice would make me listen, which scent would make me hesitate, which face would hurt the most. Sometimes I think the darkest things are not the ones that arrive looking monstrous. Sometimes they arrive looking familiar. Sometimes they wear the shape of memory. And sometimes, when the room is quiet enough, I still wonder if whatever it was watching me that night ever truly left, or if it's simply learned how to wait. Anonymous. Anonymous, thank you so much for your experience. It was a very, I won't say controversial, but I will say on point experience for our team. For some, myself included, it was an experience where you described things vividly, accurately, without fluff, and to the point. Your experience sounds absolutely horrific, and I'm so sorry you had to go through that. But thank you for sharing. Listening to this experience already has my mind going down several routes of theories and ideas. For example, we talk about the mimic, but are mimics really, without turning this into an episode of After Dark, but perhaps mimics are the sort of non-evolved form of a demon. And when we talk of people having mimics, they could eventually turn into what our anonymous submitter experienced. It's just a theory. And if you like those sort of theories off the cuff and as they come into my mind, you can sign up to our Patreon in the links below in the show notes, or go to patreon.com/The Dark Paranormal. And once a week I do an episode called After Dark, straight to camera, 30 minutes without pressing pause or editing, and I just let my mind go down these rabbit holes. But I bring you with me, of course. And we also have our Dark Bites episode, which is our shorter stories, like minisodes, but sometimes shorter still. And each week we round them all up and put them together in a 30-minute show. But I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today, and until Friday, stay safe and take care.